Hello guys, I am back. Today, we will analyze how I pulled off the 1 versus 5 clutch in Map Hope Bridge. If you haven't watched the full battle, you can get the link in this video's description below. This video is quite interesting and pretty long because I would go deeply into analyzing what was going on, along with the key moments, strategies, decisions, and mistakes I made. Without further ado, let's get started. Before jumping directly to the moment when I started clutching against 5 opponents, let's take a step back to analyze what had been happening for 1 minute before I was the only player left in my team. In this battle, I had to play with a low-level player against 5 opponents. Out of 5 opponents, there were 2 very strong high-level players, Dariex and Mickey. My teammate and I were defending around our base. After taking down Mickey's Abrams and Domenko 9's Spring Sprit, my Phoenix was really low on health. Since my teammate was a low-level player, his tank would not be much upgraded. As a consequence, his tank would be destroyed within a few seconds when he got attacked by a high-level player. We were very close to each other, and even worse, our positions were terrible because there were lots of places where enemies could shoot us. It would take a long time for us to move to safe positions. The enemies were rushing towards us, and Dariex's Starlord was already quite close to us. It meant that when Dariex managed to get close to us, where he could shoot both of us, he could easily kill us at the same time. How did I know Dariex's Starlord was the closest enemy to us? It was simple. Before I killed Mickey's Abrams and Domenko 9's Spring Spirit, the enemies had been using 4 heavy tanks and 1 medium tank, one of which is Dariex's Starlord. After I killed 2 heavy tanks from Mickey and Domenko 9, I saw an enemy's medium tank that was quite close to us. So this must be Dariex's Starlord. We were at a very high risk of getting killed at the same time by Dariex's Starlord, so I needed to play to counter that. One possible option was, I would quickly move to a place where Dariex could not shoot both of us at the same time. But is this option optimal? My teammate was a low-level player. He did not have much experience. It would be very likely that he was unaware of the risk of being killed at the same time. Even if he knew, he would not be able to move to a safe place to avoid Dariex's attack, simply because his tank was too slow. He would definitely get killed by Dariex after a few seconds. I did not have information on how many tanks my teammate had, but I knew he did not have many tanks because he was a very low-level player. He already lost many tanks, so his AT-800 was very likely his last tank. If that were the case, even if I managed to counter being killed at the same time, I would be left alone playing against 5 opponents using a low-health Phoenix that was already detected by enemies. There were more than 2 minutes left, so I would definitely lose. Basically, I would lose when AT-800 was the last tank of my teammate. So this option was not optimal. I couldn't tell if AT-800 was the last tank of my teammate or not. When we don't have enough info, we must assume the worst scenario would happen and play in a way to maximize our chance to win. That is, we need to play most optimally. We should not rely on luck and hope that a good situation would happen because we would lose control of the battle. I did not hope and take the bet that my teammate still had more tanks. That would be too naive. I assumed the worst situation, that is, AT-800 was my teammate's last tank. It meant I had to play in a way to counter being killed at the same time by Dariex, but also got ready to clutch 1 versus 5 after my teammate got killed and ran out of tanks. How could we do that optimally? To get ready to survive against 5 opponents for more than 2 minutes, I needed to discard my Phoenix and spawn a new tank. This is because a Phoenix that was spotted couldn't play against such 5 players for 2 minutes, even if it had full health. To counter being killed at the same time by Dariex, I needed to make sure he couldn't shoot both of us at the same time. To achieve both of these goals, I used Nitro to quickly move towards Dariex, then carefully moved my Phoenix to block him and stop him from moving towards my teammate. The key here was to block Dariex and shoot at him. It put pressure on him and slowed him down from attacking my teammate, so he had to fight against me and couldn't attack my teammate. This helped me quickly discard my Phoenix to spawn a new tank to clutch 1 versus 5. What if Dari X knew my intention and countered me by committing to attack my teammate first and ignoring my attack? Well, he couldn't, or it was very hard. Because I blocked his path, he couldn't move toward my teammate. It would take a very long time for him to approach my teammate. And remember, I was constantly blocking and shooting at him, so I would kill him before he managed to shoot my teammate if he did not fight me back. So things worked out as I planned. I protected my teammate by preventing Darix from moving to a good position to shoot him and discarded my Phoenix to respawn a new tank. I successfully countered being killed at the same time and spawned a new tank. Got ready to clutch 1 versus 5. As I anticipated, AT-800 was the last tank of my teammate. Now you might ask, why didn't I use Nitro immediately after killing Mickey and Demenko 9? Isn't that optimal? Well, it is true. I wanted, but I couldn't. It was because I had to wait for the slowing down negative impact on my Phoenix to expire. While it is active, activating Nitro will not have any effect. Now, the question is, what was the best tank to choose to survive against 5 players for 2 minutes? Could we use a heavy tank? Heavy tanks don't have equipments and gears supporting absorbing damage, so once it gets spotted and attacked, it gets destroyed super fast. If I chose a heavy tank, I had to buy a lot of time trying to not get detected, because once I got spotted, all enemies would come towards me, and there was nearly no way I would be able to survive. This map, Hope Bridge, is very wide. It is very hard to hide and avoid being spotted after spawning. I did not see any hope, because there were enemies who were close to my base. I would get spotted after I respawn. I could have used a heavy tank with nitro equipment like Spring Spirit to force opponents to rotate and chase me to buy time, but I did not think I would have a high chance of surviving after they managed to catch me up. It is a good option. It might work when I did it right and had some luck, but I believe the approach I used in my battle was superior. So I did not use this option. I also lost the 2 best heavy tanks to clutch, Phoenix and Merkava. Other heavy tanks are not strong and good for clutching. For those reasons, I did not choose a heavy tank to clutch. So what about medium tanks? Dragon is the best medium tank to clutch, but I lost it early game. We could also use Demon to clutch, but I also lost it. Other medium tanks I had can't be used to clutch. They either did not have mines, or equipments to absorb damage, or high enough armor. So the only option left was a light tank, AT-800 MK3. This is a tank that was set up equipments to absorb maximum damage. But how could we use AT-800 to survive for 2 minutes against 5 opponents, especially when there were 2 powerful enemies? What is the logic and intuition behind the strategy I used to win the battle? How should we execute that strategy? What we should pay attention to and focus on? How should we use our equipment? Where should we move? How could we get more info to gain advantage? All of this deserves a separate dedicated video.